I've been on hiatus for a while, but I'm back now.
You listening to the style
Getting back to that nigga that was sleeping in the back house. Always wonder why haters wanna front in the background. But I gotta take lead if they try to catch up, he a hash brown. I'm talking about leadership. All these new rappers misleading shit, I don't believe them here. OCP came to reinvent, breaking records till we make the needle bend. My wife a hot little Latina miss, my jalapeno fajita mix. Put family over leaving, what was more important for being rich? I feel like me again. Yeah, everybody know I'm all in to go all out. All my ones in the beach, all in to go all out. All my ones in the E going up, man, they all down.
All right, you guys, how are you doing? How are you doing? How are you doing? I hope you guys like the small musical interlude that we started with. That is my friend, Name Brand. If you guys never heard of Name Brand, I suggest you take the time to go find out who that man is. Really, 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 really good quality music. How is it going out there? It's Friday. It's Friday. It's Friday. I hope everybody is feeling good. For a lot of people, it's your last day at work until Monday. So you can get out and get your party on, whatever it is that you're going to be doing today. How you doing, Danny? Do I stay here or go to YouTube? I would like you to go to YouTube, Dewana. I would like you to go to YouTube. Pogo, what's up, fam? You about ready to come to Be More? Yeah, I'm going to be out there in June. I'm going to be out there June 13th. In fact, I'll be out there June 13th. No. I'll be out there June 15th. Y'all be there June 15th, probably till about the 18th, 19th, something like that. You're going to be out there, right? I get to see you, right? All right. We got something we're going to talk about today. Again, and we're going to talk about Pamela Turner. It was the lady. She was killed in Baytown, Texas by police officers. Okay? So we're going to get into that just a little bit, and I'm going to tell you guys what I think about it. The week before last, there was a lady in Baytown, Texas. Her name is Pamela Anderson, and she was shot by police. She got into a tussle with the police officer, and the police officer shot her 5 times. 3 times the police hit her, but 5 times there was 5 shots fired. And the only reason I feel like I could talk about this is because I actually went down to the scene and I talked to people there. I talked to one of the eyewitnesses. I talked to neighbors. I talked to people in the community. I talked to people who knew Pam Turner. I talked to all sorts of people, and I kind of figured out what was going on. I got the actual story of what's going on. I even got an interview from a lady, but she didn't want her face to be seen. So I'm not going to put out that interview just on the anonymity that she wanted to keep by keeping her privacy. But I am qualified to tell you that I do know what I'm talking about. And what I'm trying to talk about is there's something that's being missed. And before we go over what's being missed, I'm going to tell you a couple articles, show you a couple articles, just the headlines real quick. I'm going to let you see a couple articles. And first, I'm going to talk about why people are angry and why people actually have a right to be angry. Rick Wilmore, what's up with you, Big Rick? I'm about to do this and I'm headed over to the station. What's up with you, Rick? But yeah, we're talking about Pamela Turner. She was killed in Baytown, Texas by a police officer. Now, this is one of the reasons that people are mad. And this is something that people should feel some type of frustration over. Here, let me share my screen with you guys one time. I'm moving fast. I got to make today quick. I got to get out of here. So I'm going to make it real quick. To the point. Make it real quick and to the point. You feel me? Do you feel me? Let me share this screen with you guys. Okay, what it says right here. Cop who shot and killed Black woman who shouted she was pregnant is back on the job. So he's back on the job, and that's why people are so angry, because it seems like you could kill somebody and you're back to work within 2 weeks. You're back to work within 2 weeks. I don't know in too many other professions where you could literally kill somebody and be back to work in 2 weeks. And he was on paid vacation. Yeah, I said it, paid vacation. The couple of days that he was off. His name is Officer Juan De La Cruz. And right here it says he fatally shot Pamela Turner, a woman who was reportedly deemed to have mental health struggles. All right? Mental health struggles. And so that's what I'm going to talk about today. That's the part that I think that everybody's missing. So if you talk about the people say that, you know, she was fighting back or she was resisting arrest, okay, you might have a point. You might have a point. But I don't think that that's really the argument here. Okay, from me going down there and talking to the people, what's up, Rick? Yeah, what's happening, Rick? I found out a few things. Not only did the officer know the lady, the officer lived in those apartments. Okay, and so these are things that the media is kind of glossing over. They want to talk about her record. They want to talk about her struggling with the police officer. And yeah, okay, she struggled with the police officer. But the part that people are overlooking is she was a paranoid schizophrenic. All right? She was a paranoid schizophrenic. And so you can't lose context when you're talking about what's going on. If you're a schizophrenic person, you hear voices, you think you're under threat when you're not, you don't really know how to react to certain things. And being that he knew she was a paranoid schizophrenic person, should he had handled it like that? And so we keep talking about she resisted. Here, let me look up paranoid schizophrenic. We'll look up the symptoms. We're going to look up the symptoms.
Paranoid schizophrenia.
Going to look up the symptoms. Look up the symptoms.
Schizophrenia.
Look, Google up here trying to talk to me.
Images. Bipolar paranoid schizophrenia. Paranoid schizophrenia. Bipolar paranoid schizophrenia. All.
We're going to see what's going on. We're going to look up paranoid schizophrenia. And we also going to look up the effects of paranoid schizophrenia. Because, yeah, of course, yes, maybe, yes, she did resist arrest. She did. And so we're going to keep stating the obvious, and they're using the obvious to make it like it was okay to kill this lady. But again, for somebody who's a paranoid schizophrenic, who suffers from schizophrenia, how did you guys expect her to react? How did that police officer expect her to react? And yes, he knew exactly who she was. Again, not only did he live in those apartments, he knew her, and they had other run-ins in the past. Okay, so when people say she resisted, you can't resist, I understand. And that makes sense for somebody who is in the right state of mind. All right? How can you try to hold the same standard over somebody who is clinically schizophrenic? You see what I'm saying? You see what I'm saying? And so that's what I'm trying to say here. I'm just trying to let you know that there is something that is being missed in the conversation. I've been waiting for an update on this story. Okay, Joy's Chit Chat, and I'm going to update you. I actually, like I said, I went down to the scene. I went down to the scene of the crime. I did some interviews. I talked to some people. I even talked to some people in the large media, in the corporate conglomerate of the media. And they were twisting the story right there in front of you. Or they'll say something and they'll act like, you know, they agree with the people and they actually care about the sentiment of the people. But when it come on the news, they actually change. So let me share my screen up with you. And again, when people say that she resisted arrest, you say, okay. But then ask them, was she a paranoid schizophrenic? What would you expect a paranoid schizophrenic to do while having an episode? Do you really think a paranoid schizophrenic is going to listen to you and just take your marching orders? I mean, I don't think it take a whole lot of training nor common sense to figure that out. I don't think it take a lot of common sense to figure that one out. And again, if you guys haven't got a chance to go over to the Soapbox Heroes channel on YouTube, hit subscribe. And again, this is going to be real quick. I'm about to get out of here today. We on 12:30, The Source, 12:30 a.m. here in Houston, Texas. You can catch me with Ralph Cooper at 5 p.m. Central. That's if you out here in Texas. You feel me? All right. Now let's look at some symptoms. Schizophrenia involves a range of problems with thinking, cognition, behavior, or emotions. Okay? Thinking, cognition, behavior, or emotions. Signs and symptoms may vary, but usually involve delusions, hallucinations, or disorganized speech, and reflect an impaired ability to function. Symptoms may include, all right? Again, so when we're talking about she resisted arrest, let's talk about why she resisted arrest. Let's not put it out of the context of the fact that she was a paranoid schizophrenic. And me growing up, my grandmother is schizophrenic. Get a little personal on you here. So it's a little personal. My grandmother is schizophrenic, and I grew up with a schizophrenic woman in my home. My parents took my grandmother on when I was about 11, maybe younger. And I understand what a paranoid schizophrenic goes through and what they think and the way they react and the way that they act. And I know that when somebody's having an episode of schizophrenia, when they're hearing voices, when they're afraid, when the voices in their head are telling them to do things, when they're talking to themselves, when they're having delusions, when they're unorganized in their thought, it's not hard to figure it out. It's not hard to see exactly what is going on. So when people say, oh, she resisted, let's talk about why she resisted. Let's state the obvious to the obvious that they're trying to state. Okay, delusions. These are false beliefs that are not based in reality. For example, you think that you are being harmed or harassed. What did she tell him? Why are you harassing me? Go back to the video. Look for yourself. Go back to the video. Look to yourself. What did she say? Why are you harassing me? Okay? Let's not forget that. Certain gestures or comments are directed at you. You have the exceptional ability or fame. Another person is in love with you. A major catastrophe is about to occur. Delusions occur in most people with schizophrenia. So most people with schizophrenia do have delusions. Okay? Hallucinations. These usually involve seeing or hearing things that don't exist. Yet the person with schizophrenia, they have all the force and impact of a normal experience. So when you're hallucinating, it feels real. A person with a schizophrenic person, when they're hallucinating, to them, it feels real. All right? It feels real. Like this is something that's really going on in their head. And so when we look at them and we think that it's a joke, they really, really believe, they really, really intently feel what they're going through is real. All right? Get over here. Let me make sure I share. Let me share. What you say, Greeland? More training is needed. See, I don't know if it's training. Because he knew her. He lived in those apartments. In fact, he was the apartment resource officer. And I'm going to give just a little bit of background on all that. Give me 1 second. Let me finish these symptoms of schizophrenia. Hallucinations can be in any of the senses, but hearing voices is the most common hallucination. Disorganized thinking, speech. Disorganized thinking is inferred from disorganized speech. Effective communication can be impaired, and answers to questions may be partially or completely unrelated. Rarely, speech may include putting together meaningless words that can't be understood, sometimes known as word salad. All right? And again, we're going over the symptoms of schizophrenia. And the reason I'm going over the symptoms of schizophrenia is because people keep trying to say she resisted arrest, which is okay, that's obvious, but let's talk about why she resisted arrest. Let's talk about why she resisted arrest. You can't overlook the mental health aspect of this. There is no way that it should be overlooked. They put up her mug shots. They talk about her going to jail. They talk about all the bad things that she's done. But from talking to the people in the neighborhood, she also did a lot of good things. She would pay kids to take out her trash. She would talk to people, and she was known for walking her dogs. She would just walk her dogs. All right? Okay? Let's talk about more than what the media is just putting out in front of us. Let's talk about the why. Do you feel me? Do you feel me? And again, if you haven't had a chance to, go over to the Soapbox Heroes channel on YouTube, hit the subscribe button. We are trying to build some subscribers on the YouTube. All right? Extreme disorganized or abnormal motor behavior. This may be shown in a number of ways, for childlike silliness to unpredictable agitation. Okay? Unpredictable agitation. These are all symptoms of paranoid schizophrenia. These are all symptoms of schizophrenia. The paranoid part is obvious, right? These are all symptoms of schizophrenia. And again, I'm only going over this list again because people keep saying, she resisted arrest. She resisted arrest. And they're using it as a talking point to make you think what this officer did was okay. All right? Let me put it to you like this. Would it be okay to go shoot somebody who you already know is a schizophrenic? When you see that person under the freeway talking to themselves, and you see that they haven't taken their medicine, and you can see from a distance that something is wrong with them psychologically, is it still okay to just run up and shoot them when you know that something is wrong with them? And again, we can't get over the fact that he knew her, okay? Next symptom, it says negative symptoms. This refers to the reduced or lack of ability to function normally. For example, the person may neglect personal hygiene or appear to lack emotion. Doesn't make eye contact, doesn't change facial expressions, or speaks in a monotone. So when somebody just talking to monotone and they really don't change their expressions and they really don't change their voice and they just kind of talk like this, you know, and being when somebody's schizophrenic, it could be word salad, like they said earlier. So you could say, yeah, I'm talking like this about the Knicks, and I really don't like the Bulls playing football because the other day I took my dogs for a walk, and, you know, the cheeseburger I ate the other day really didn't taste like a building across the street. You see, that's something that they're talking about. That's something that you might hear from a schizophrenic person. Symptoms can vary in type and severity over time, with periods of worsening and remission of symptoms. Some symptoms may always be present, all right? So some of the symptoms of schizophrenia may never go away. And I'm going to give just a little bit more background to the story. See, Pamela Turner, the apartments that she got killed in were called the Brixtons. Pamela Turner lived in some apartments around the corner from the Brixtons prior. All right. The people that ran the management there at the prior apartment she lived in, they already knew of her condition. And so when those people left those apartments, some of the people went to the Brixtons. And so she moved to the Brixtons too, so she could be around people who understood her condition. Well, eventually those people left. Some of those people left, got fired, whatever the situation is. And when that happened, the new management were calling the police on her more and more and more. So yeah, she did have some run-ins with the police. But again, it was very well known that she was a paranoid schizophrenic. I even heard from kids saying, oh yeah, we knew something was wrong with her. She would talk to herself. She might run up to you and say something, but she will never harm anyone. All right? But she would never harm anyone. All right? And so today I just wanted to make this real short. I wanted to make this real simple. We cannot forget that she had a mental illness when this happened. So if somebody says, well, you can't resist the police. We get it. Okay, we get it. You can't resist. Okay. But the police can't be shooting people who they know have a mental illness. You got to look at both sides of the coin. You can't expect somebody with a mental illness to compose themselves with the same civility as a person who is in their right mind. But I can expect a police officer who understands what schizophrenia is, 11-year veteran of the police department who have been through extensive training. I can expect him to identify when somebody is a paranoid schizophrenic. And when you identify that they're a paranoid schizophrenic, you should also identify the fact that they are going to react differently. So let's not make this real hard. Let's not make it tough. Let's not make it like it's hard to figure out. Now, his intentions, I don't know his intentions. I'm not going to talk about intentions. I'm not going to be in his head. I'm not going to talk any hyperbole or talk about anything that I don't know. But what I do know is he already knew her. He already had run-ins with her. And he knew that she was a paranoid schizophrenic. So the next time you meet somebody who suffers from paranoid schizophrenia, that may have delusions and may see things and may hear voices in their head, think of Pamela Turner, and then think if that person would be in a state to listen to somebody trying to give them directions to put your hands behind your back and this, that, and the third. She wasn't in the right state of mind to cooperate. She wasn't in the right state of mind to cooperate. So how can you expect cooperation? How can you expect somebody to cooperate when they're hearing voices, when they're hearing delusions? How? So like I said, I was going to keep it short today. And I just wanted to put that out there. Her memorial service was yesterday. It was yesterday here in Houston. A lot of people showed up. Wonderful memorial service. All right. But again, you guys, when people were talking about Pamela Turner and when people are saying that she resisted, look at all the existential circumstances around her resisting. She wasn't just a woman in her right mind resisting. All right. And if you get a chance, go look at her autopsy report. They released the autopsy report, and the fatal shot was a shot to her face. She was shot 3 times altogether, and there were 5 shots taken, which means the police officer missed twice. The police officer missed twice. Hey, F.E. The police officer missed not once, but twice, which is also putting innocent people in the line of fire. But nobody want to talk about that. So again, when you hear somebody say that she resisted arrest, pat them on the head. Tell them you're right. And then ask them if she was a paranoid schizophrenic. And do you really expect the paranoid schizophrenic to comply with the words you are saying when they hearing other voices in their head? And don't forget that they had protocols. He wasn't even supposed to try to arrest her. All right. He was supposed to do other things. He was also supposed to call an ambulance, and he was supposed to call a whole different type of unit to deal with somebody who are going through these obvious mental problems. And I can say obvious because he knew her. Just like the little kids I seen around that neighborhood saying, oh, well, we all knew how she was. Just like I talked to her former neighbor who talked about how she was, but everybody knew it. Like I talked to the witness who said, oh, no, we had seen this before. All right. So don't let people badger you with silly arguments, trying to make it as if this woman was in her right mind and just decided to battle the police. Okay. That is not the case. Don't fall for it. Now you know the facts. I'm going to get out of here. Soapbox Heroes. Again, if you guys get a chance, go over to the YouTube channel, hit subscribe, turn on the notification bell so you guys know when we do this. We have had some wonderful debates this week. We have had some wonderful conversations this week. And we're going to continue. We just going to keep moving, grooving. You feel me? So you guys come check us out. Show a little bit of love. I guarantee I'll show some back. But I'm about to get out of here. If you're in the Houston area, tune in at 12:30 a.m. The Source. I will be there from 5 to 7 with the legendary, incomparable Ralph Cooper. I'm out of here, y'all. You guys have a wonderful Friday. Peace.